Why were Charlie's coffin hands orange? I am uniquely qualified to answer this question. In addition to all the other weird facts that you know about me, one thing you probably didn't know is that I used to spend my summers working in my uncle's funeral home. And seeing, let alone performing an embalming, is probably something that less than 1% of the population has ever seen or done. Okay, there's a number of factors that could cause that kind of like mannequin looking hand, and I'll go through them real quick. First of all, there is a number of different colored embalming fluids and used for different reasons. A lot of the factors depend on the person's skin tone or what kind of lighting they're going to be using for the funeral. The color we used the most at my uncle's funeral home was like a hot pink color, which I thought was crazy, but it made sense in the end. Because when you don't have oxygenated blood pumping through your body, then you lose color. You've seen people kind of go ghost white before. That's usually because the blood has rushed out of their face and you're seeing just kind of them bereft of color. The next thing you have to take in consideration is the lighting that's going to be used when they are laying in state. A lot of funeral homes use this kind of soft, peachy looking light, in which case the hot pink really works well with that. But it may or may not look okay if you're using something like natural lighting. Now, when Charlie had his incident, he lost a lot of blood very quickly, which makes the veins kind of shrivel up a little bit. This is an embalming machine, and typically the way that it works is that you pump the fluid into the carotid artery, and it makes its way through your vascular system and pumps out through the jugular vein. But since he most likely did not have any blood left in those extremities, it was probably very hard to get the fluid all the way down into those extremities, especially the hands and fingers. So then you move on to the final step, makeup. If you're not going to put them in gloves, then you have to coat them in a lot of makeup. Because if you don't, then the hands kind of look like old people hands and they look very withered. And there again, it depends on the type of lighting that you're using, which determines the tone of the makeup. I feel like they either used the wrong shade of makeup for that particular picture or they were in some bad lighting. Because you're right, it did make his hands look especially orange. But for those of you conspiracy theorists out there that said that wasn't really him, that was a mannequin, that's not the case at all. I've seen this happen dozens of times. But yeah, there's a little bit more that goes into this, but I feel like I kind of covered the basis from what I can remember from when I was a teenager having to do this. And I feel like that may have been a little bit of an over-explanation of things, but that's just the way that my brain works. Oh, and having severe ADHD and working at a funeral home, not a very good match as it turns out. And that's probably why I'm not a funeral director today.